The current society often has deprived people of their worth. Too often, individuals, usually people of color, have been disregarded for their identity and values. These neglections have often led communities to fight for a more inclusive society. Martin Luther King fought for an inclusive America. Nelson Mandela sought to end the divisions that came with differences among people. Most recently, Colin Kaepernick took a knee to protest the disregard for black lives. And so many others like them have spent their lives fighting for a society that acknowledges all kinds of human beings. The divisions of race, religion, ethnicity, and color have deprived our society's strength to form a better world. As the beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, said in his very last sermon, "There is no superiority of an Arab over a non-Arab, or of a non-Arab over an Arab, and no superiority of a white person over a black person, or of a black person over a white person, except on the biases of personal piety and righteousness." I believe that the only possible way we can become an inclusive society is to advocate for justice, social and economic. We must stand up against issues that keep neglecting people, especially people of color. In order to grow as a collective, we must cherish the differences that make us unique and work toward building a world that Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, echoed in the 7th century. I am Mohammad Muntakim, a high school student attending Detroit Public Schools Community District, and also a student intern at 482 Forward. Throughout the past years, I've been honored to work alongside various people on many different issues that impact our community. The city of Detroit is recognized as one of the blackest cities in America, with a predominantly African American population and minority pockets of Arab, Bengali, and Hispanic communities. As a minority populated city, Detroit faces a lot of voter suppression. The lack of educational resources, difficult registration regulations, and lack of language accessibility are all contributing factors that limit the right of Detroiters to simply just cast a vote. Therefore, months leading up to the last presidential election, youth across Detroit, like myself, worked with organizations like 482 Forward to educate, inform, and assist our community to register and vote. We held various events that focused on ballot education and voter registration. We spent hours phone and text banking, and through these efforts, we registered hundreds of new voters, and Detroit had the highest election turnout in years. Also, in the public schools of Detroit, Muslim students, like me, did not get to experience traditional holiday joys over the past years because of our educational responsibilities that overshadowed our opportunity to celebrate our holidays. Since the Detroit Public Schools Community District did not observe the Islamic holidays in the past years. Therefore, I began to initiate a movement, DPSCD Off for Eid, a campaign to push our district to acknowledge our holidays. With the support of the community and education justice organizations like 482 Forward, it took 3 years of organizing, obtaining petitions, speaking at board meetings, sending numerous emails, leading social media campaigns, holding community events and town halls, and leading strategic campaigns for us to finally win. After persistent effort, our school district eventually agreed to honor Eid on the academic calendar for the upcoming year. Currently, we are also taking this win to move the work forward, as we're currently building with 482 to launch a citywide Muslim Youth Council that will continue the work of this campaign, striving for a more equitable and a more inclusive city and school district. Similarly, we as a youth collective at 482 Forward developed a new campaign, divest from the school police system and invest in students' needs. Given the sad tragedies of police brutality across America that shattered our hearts, and prior experiences of students with law enforcement, the youth at 482 Forward decided to develop a campaign to get police presence out of Detroit public schools. We introduced a police oversight committee dedicated to observing the altercations between students and school police in order to hold law enforcement accountable, and divesting the $33 million of the police budget into students' needs, counselors, nurses, books, mental health support, and other things over the next several school years, because we must work toward building a more just and a more safe school community for students in Detroit. And currently, I myself am also working on several projects at the moment. A mentorship program with my peers that will focus on providing support for college admissions essays to students in underprivileged areas across Detroit, and also a research project that will focus on tackling the issue of food insecurity in Metro Detroit community. Although these projects have progressed our community toward becoming more inclusive, more just, and more equitable, there is a lot more work to be done. The work to build a better school district in Detroit continues. The work to end voter suppression in Detroit continues. The work to support and aid youth across Detroit continues. The work to ensure a safer Detroit continues. The work to prevent food and housing insecurity in Detroit continues. The work to build a more inclusive, a more just, and a more equitable Detroit continues. And most importantly, across the globe, the work to build a more inclusive society must continue. To ensure that this society strives to become more inclusive and more just, I, with my friend Dillon Cathro, are launching a new podcast, the Muntakim Minute, to highlight youth perspectives on issues including, but not excessive to, education reform, social cohesion, social identity formation, and public health interventions. So I hope today's video inspires you to positively impact your own community. And as we engage in conversations about a more inclusive society, I hope you will tune into our podcast to learn more. Thank you.